How does the land impact our identities? It seems like a confusing question at first, but if you think about it, wherever you live, the land really impacts how you live your life. The land, climate, animals, and infrastructure around you impact your identity without you even knowing. In fact, your identity is made up of all the different things that happen in your life. Things like the view from your window, the activities you do for fun, and the food you eat are all impacted by where you are. Identity is also not just an individual thing. Cities, provinces, and countries all have their own identities. The Canadian Pacific Railway is a huge part of Canada's history and identity, and there are a lot of important landmarks that came from it. The Canadian Pacific Railway was built in 1881 to unite Canadians from coast to coast. It played a major role in the promotion of tourism as well as Canada's war efforts. It also allowed the settlers to come to the western side of Canada much easier. The Canadian Pacific Railway affected the identity of all Canada, but it really shaped lots of parts in Western Canada. Craigellachie is where the last spike in the Canadian Pacific Railway was hammered in. The construction started from the east and the west at the same time. It took just as long from Ontario to Craigellachie as it did from Port Moody. This was because of all the intense geography in BC and Alberta. Once the last spike was hammered in, all the people who worked on the railway felt a sense of joy. Building this railway had shaped their life and identity. After working so hard and through such difficult times, all of them would have a new understanding of nature and how powerful it is. The Canadian Pacific Railway was completed in 1885 and followed very steep slopes, causing lots of difficulties during construction. It also became a stop for tourism. There's a lookout where you can see the actual tunnels and a bunch of models and signs explaining it. So for anyone who really enjoys railways, it's very interesting, and even if you're not, it's still really cool to see. After the railway was completed, they ran into a lot of problems with weather and almost no one was using it. It started to look like a complete waste. However, there was one thing that saved it, and that was tourism. Since Canada is home to some of the most spectacular views in the world, they could promote the railway as a way of getting to see these places. Banff National Park, with all the beautiful mountains, lakes, and waterfalls, is the reason why the railway is still used today. To get a sense of how this beautiful park affects people's identity, I interviewed a tourist from a little town in Banff.
Today, actually kind of interestingly, my mom runs an Airbnb, so she had two guests come last night that really wanted to see Banff but had no plans getting here, so I offered to drive them, so they're off exploring.
That's super cool.
I hike around like the Kananaskis area all the time with my family, probably like every weekend pretty much.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually this past summer I took a job tree planting, which is like insane, and I probably wouldn't have done it if I didn't like hiking or the outdoors. I actually used to hate hiking. I thought like when I was a kid and my mom would take me, it was just like a chore that I had to do, you know, like I didn't enjoy it. It was only in the past couple of years that I actually started really getting into it.
As you can see, the Canadian Pacific Railway left such an impact on not just the people who worked on it, but also the tourists who visit Western Canada today. The stunning scenery in Alberta not only impacts the identity of Albertans, but also all of Canada. These views give us tourism, which we couldn't live without.